Hello, I'm Dean Karstens. Welcome back to my YouTube channel, Dean's N-Scale Trains, where we dive into creative solutions for your model railroad layouts. Today I'm tackling a problem I had hiding my switch machines. As you can see from my photo, I'm too old to be crawling around under my layout, installing and replacing switch machines. In addition, I've had an interest for some time in improving N-Scale switch machines and finally came up with a solution using inexpensive and strong servo motors. I recently installed servos on all of my 13 switches, including the 8 switches for the main yard in my Santa Fe Northern layout. I designed holders and put the servos along the edge of the baseboard, as you can see in this photo. My problem was how to hide these 8 servo motors that run my switches while still making them easy to replace if needed. Today I'll tell you about my solution, and also I'll walk you through my scenery production process for this project using Woodland Scenics fine turf in various colors, layered over my standard paint and held down with scenic cement. We'll also add some realistic bushes and shrubs to bring the scene to life, ending up with this. So let's get started. First, I added balsa sticks to raise the scenery above the servo. Then I put down 2 layers of thin plastic. I painted that with my base paint, and I finished that with various fine turfs. Finally, I added the gravel road, and I sealed everything with scenic cement. So let's jump in. Here you can see details of what I'm doing. The purple is the foam substrate. It's 3 inches, 1 inch and 2 inches thick. Along the bottom, you can see the brown fascia board that I added. And to the lower right, you can see the white top of the mechanism of the servo and the black servo holder that's glued to the styrofoam. I added 1/4 inch balsa sticks, as you can see, to raise the level of the scenery that I'm going to put in above the level of the servo, and I did that all along. For long travel distances such as this, I added an extra strip up against the fascia board. Everything was glued together with a hot glue gun, and then the hot glue above the balsa was peeled off with a razor blade. I bought this sign at my local hardware store. It's made out of what looks like styrene and is quite thin, and it easily cuts with a utility knife or with scissors. I'll put down 2 layers of this as a scenery base. The whole idea is to have something that could easily be cut if I had to get back in to repair or replace my servos. This is the super glue I used to glue down the thin plastic sheets to the balsa board, and then to glue the second layer down to the first layer. Here's the first layer of the plastic sheeting after it was glued down. As you can see, it runs between the roadbed of the rail and the edge of the fascia board. And here's the first layer. As you can see, the pieces were butted against each other, and a piece of the second layer above that will be glued down over the first layer to provide a stronger substrate. Note that the joints were staggered for strength. I then painted the white plastic with my base paint. I bought all of this from Amazon. It's from Apple Barrel brand. 24 ounces of country tan, 4 ounces of nutmeg brown, and a couple ounces of reducer or water. Okay, so what's happening here, I've painted this with my base coat. I've masked off everything with masking tape. The road will be crossing the railroad here, and here I want a gravel road going back. I'm using a product from Woodland Scenics road gravel, and a lot of textures, my usual textures, earth, yellow grass, and some green, some light green. So I buy Elmer's glue in gallon containers. They last me about 5 or 6 years. Pour some out. Paint down straight Elmer's glue. And then put some earth fine turf down, quite a bit of that, followed by the yellow grass, followed by a little bit of green here and there, then finish up the rest of it. After this, I spray everything with isopropyl alcohol, saturate the turf, and then saturate that with 50-50 Elmer's glue and water, and then final touch-up. Then pull up the tape and we'll finish the road. Paint the road area with full-strength Elmer's. And put down the gravel material. After everything was dry, I textured it with the texture that comes with the woodland scenic gravel. At this point, I decided to put on a heavier layer of texture. I masked off the road with thin strips of masking tape. After things have set up a little bit, spray with isopropyl alcohol, soak it down, and then put on some scenic cement, which is Elmer's glue diluted about 1:1 with water. Finally, I added ballast between the space between the rails and the scenery. I added it down, smoothed it out, trying to get as much off the ties as possible. Then I added isopropyl alcohol as usual and scenic cement. In this area, I had previously put down sand. Now I'm adding ballast. Spraying it with isopropyl alcohol and saturating with scenic cement. So that's it for today. If you have any questions or comments, please put them down below. Thanks for watching. If you've enjoyed this video, please give me a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel, Dean's N-Scale Trains. As always, I really appreciate it.